30,000 million bodhisattvas are coming from the eastern direction. 50,000 million bodhisattvas are coming from the southern direction. 60,000 million bodhisattvas are coming from the western direction. 80,000 million bodhisattvas are coming from the northern direction. 90,000 million bodhisattvas are coming from below. 100,000 million bodhisattvas are coming from above, and each and every one of them is abiding on the 10 grounds. Then, in order to see the Blessed One, all those bodhisattvas proceeded to Rajagriha to where the Blessed One was. And all those bodhisattvas, each and every one, had set out for unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Then the Blessed One said to the bodhisattva, the great being Sarvashuddha, Sarvashuddha, go to the world systems of the 10 directions and say to all the bodhisattvas, today in the great city of Rajagriha, the Tathagata is teaching the Dharma. Therefore, all you residents of the world systems in the 10 directions, place your palms together and bow down in homage. Say this, and as soon as you have made it understood, come back immediately to listen to the Dharma. At that, the bodhisattva, the great being Sarvashuddha, arose from his seat, prostrated with his head at the feet of the Blessed One, circumambulated the Blessed One 3 times, and then disappeared through supernatural powers. Then the bodhisattva, the great being Sarvashuddha, went to the world systems of the 10 directions and instructed the bodhisattvas. Today, in the great city of Rajagriha, the Tathagata is teaching the Dharma. Therefore, you should reply to that, excellent, and on account of that, on this very day, you will receive benefit and attain great bliss. Then, having gone to the world systems of the 10 directions, the bodhisattva, the great being Sarvashuddha, honored all the Buddhas and informed the bodhisattvas. And in just the amount of time as, for example, a strong person snapping their fingers, the bodhisattva, the great being Sarvashuddha, arrived in the great city of Rajagriha where the Blessed One was, and was present before the Blessed One. Then the Brahmins, heretical practitioners of other traditions, wandering mendicants, and naked ascetics also gathered. Devas, Nagas, Yakshas, many human beings, the kings, 500 in number, together with their attendants, and 33,000 million wicked Maras, together with their attendants, also gathered. And at that time the great city of Rajagriha trembled. A shower of celestial sandalwood powder rained down on the world systems in the 10 directions, and a shower of celestial flowers also rained down and remained in a towering palace at the level of the topknot on the crown of the Blessed One's head. Also at that time Indra, the lord of the Devas, wielded a thunderbolt in the presence of the Tathagata. Then at that time from the 4 directions 4 massive winds stirred up the earth. After they rose up, they carried off the garbage, sweepings, and dust from the great city of Rajagriha. A shower of fragrant waters rained down on the world systems of the 10 directions. A shower of utpala flowers, lotuses, kumuda flowers, and white lotuses rained down on the world systems of the 10 directions, and they all remained as flower canopies above the heads of all those sentient beings. 84,000 towering palaces remained motionless in the space above the crown of the head of the Tathagata. Within the 84,000 towering palaces, there arose 84,000 thrones made of the 7 precious substances. On all of those thrones, Tathagatas are seated and teach the Dharma. Then this galaxy of 1 billion world systems trembled in 6 ways. At that, the Bodhisattva, the great being Sarvashuddha, placed his palms together, bowed toward the Blessed One, and said to the Blessed One, Blessed One, what is the cause, what is the condition for the display of such supernatural apparitions here in the great city of Rajagriha? The Blessed One said, it is as follows. To make an analogy, a king rubbed the head of some unstable man, wild, full of ego-grasping, full of selfish grasping at things as his own, and also poverty-stricken. That man went up to the king's gate. Once he arrived there, he insistently wished to enter inside the palace of the king. At that, the king's ministers and retinue seized him and beat him in many ways. Then at that moment, the king heard that the destitute man insistently wanted to enter inside and thought, he is undoubtedly someone wishing to kill me. Thinking that, the king became angry and said to his retinue, you, take that man to a secluded mountain spot and kill him. Kill all his servants, parents, children, male and female slaves, and workers too. After he had issued these instructions, they were all killed, and then his friends and relatives were pierced with unbearable agonizing pains. In the same way too, as soon as the Tathagata, Arhat, perfect and complete Buddha, explains the Dharma, Just like that arrogant person, childish ordinary individuals also, with respect to the Tathagata, seize upon the form, color, marks, and shape as identifying signs, and think it is the body of the Tathagata. Then, after they have heard many Dharma teachings, they fall into exceptional arrogance and speak all kinds of nonsense. Overcome by ego-grasping and selfish grasping at things as their own, they do not themselves listen to this sort of dharma, nor do they proclaim it. Even when someone is explaining a sutra or a verse, or as little as just an analogy, they say, "We ourselves know," and they do not retain it, nor do they lend their ears to listen. If one should wonder why that is, it is because they have become full of arrogance in this way. Because of their extensive learning, they are not attentive. Those who keep company with childish ordinary individuals will not act to become endowed with this sort of dharma. They will not listen to words endowed with this sort of dharma. Due to their extensive learning, they become conceited. People like these publish their own compositions. They publish the prefaces to their own texts, too. They deceive themselves and the whole world. They pointlessly consume public resources, and having consumed them, they do not digest them well. At their time of death, great fears will arise. Those sentient beings will say to that one, "You have trained us in many crafts. Why are you not able to settle yourself?" He said this to them, "Friends, I am unable to settle myself now." At that, those sentient beings will lament and wail in various ways. Just as, with no one else to blame, through the contributing cause of their own actions, the large group of relatives was killed for the aims of only that one person, so too these sentient beings at their time of death will also lament and wail, and they will see themselves aiming towards rebirths as hell beings and animals on account of a non-virtuous friend. In the same way, I say to you Brahmins and heretical practitioners of other traditions, don't become haughty. It is as follows. To make an analogy, without having grown feathers and wings, a bird cannot fly into the sky to go to the world of the devas. In the same way, you cannot reach nirvana either, as you do not have that sort of supernatural power. If one should wonder why, it is because after one is born in a fowl's rebirth through a type of karma, in no time at all this body will disintegrate and die in the end. At the time of death, after they have lost their sense of taste, they will be thoroughly terrified, thinking, "Why did we hold on to this body? We have not experienced the happiness of the Deva world or the happiness of the human world either, and we will not abide in the abode of nirvana either. Since we pointlessly held on to this body, what is our migration path? Who will be our support? Where will be our birth, and where will be our destruction?" Then the Blessed One said to those heretical practitioners of other traditions, wandering mendicants and naked ascetics, "Do not give up hope on this precious planet Earth. Do not become outsiders to the rare and excellent gem that is the Dharma. Friends, ask the Tathagata whatever you wish, and I will completely fulfill all your wishes." At that, all the Brahmins, heretical practitioners of other traditions, wandering mendicants, and naked ascetics arose from their seats, placed their upper robes over one shoulder, and with palms together asked the Blessed One, "Blessed One, although Tathagatas have been releasing sentient beings from cyclic existence day and night, there is neither a decrease nor an increase in the realm of sentient beings. Blessed One, due to what cause and what condition do sentient beings display birth and cessation equally?" Then the Blessed One said to the Bodhisattva, the great being Paisajasena, "In order to clear away great regret and in order to set ablaze the lamp of the Dharma, the heretics put on great armor and ask a great series of questions. In the future, young and old sentient beings will understand birth and disintegration. Paisajasena, there are also old sentient beings who, like young beings, do not know anything at all. Paisajasena, it is as follows. To make an analogy, some person washed his hair, put on new clothes, and went outside his home. People said to him, "You wear your new clothes well." But another person also washed his head and washed his old clothes, and because they were old, although he had washed his hair, that man was not beautiful. Just as his clothes were not beautiful, so, Paisajasena, the old sentient beings that are on the planet Earth are not beautiful, and the young sentient beings display birth and cessation.